everyone, and welcome to Really Old Movies. I'm your host, Harrison Scullin. Today, I got a very special guest, JT from Late Night with Cap and After the Weekend. And we're going to be discussing A Christmas Carol from 1951. And so, before we get started, why don't you introduce yourself to the audience and talk a little bit about both of your podcasts?
Hey everyone, and a Merry Christmas, by the way.
Yes, Merry
Yeah,
Christmas.
JT here, and yeah, so over there at After the Weekend, we review movies from our past, like childhood type of movies from the 80s and 90s, some of the 2000s, and we have a crew of guys over there that we have a good time, have some laughs, and remember some of the movies we enjoyed when we were kids. And As far as Late Night with Cap, yeah, it's more of a mystery, kind of a cryptid type of podcast that we do once a month, where we talk about some oddity things and like UFOs or Bigfoot, those type of things. And you can also have like little shorts that get into some mysteries that you can watch on the short side of YouTube. So yeah, we have fun doing that, and I'm excited to talk about this Christmas Carol here. So
Heck yeah. And make sure to follow all those links. I'll have them down below, guys. They're really awesome. Last year, we I was actually on the Late Night with Cap, and we talked about old Hollywood urban legends and then
hmm
also some Bigfoot stuff too. So that was
yeah, we
really
did.
fun.
Yeah, we did.
Yep.
That was fun.
Yeah. And so with that, let's kind of start talking about the movie, this version of A Christmas Carol. So was this your first time seeing it, or have you grown up watching this film, this version, I should
No,
say?
no, I've actually this one was recommended by my wife. She is uh, very into Christmas, and she knows a lot of classical Christmas movies. So I asked her, like, which movie should we review that's not kind of like mainstream, like It's a Wonderful Life or something that everyone kind of knows, right? She said, well, you should watch this movie, Christmas Carol, 1951. Supposedly, it's the best Christmas Carol out there.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that later. But uh, yeah, so she recommended it. I've really never seen it. I might have seen bits of it because there are scenes that they play a lot, like in other Christmas movies.
Mhm.
I think even the movie Scrooge, they show some clips from this movie.
They
Uh,
do, yeah. Mhm.
yeah, so which I think that movie Scrooge with Bill Murray was sort of a remake of this one. But yeah, I I actually really enjoyed it. So
Yeah. Well, for me, I it's been on my, watch list and whatnot. I've never seen this version, but I've seen like the Muppets one. I saw the
oh,
1930s one. So I've seen a couple versions of A Christmas Carol, but this is my first time with this one.
yeah, one of my favorite Christmas Carol movies is one is Scrooge with Bill Murray, and then the other one is the Mickey's Christmas Carol.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a good one too.
yeah. So and then there's of course the uh, a few others out there. There seems to be every decade there's one.
At least, right?
Yeah.
Pretty sure there's
Uh,
a Looney Tunes one, even a TV one.
Yeah, it resonates to a lot of people. It's a very popular book, very well known book. I actually did on the Late Night with Cap last year. We did a show about how it was, why it was written, why he Dickens wrote the book, how it was written, and how it kind of just created Christmas as you know it as today. And yeah,
Mm,
you could definitely still check that over there on the channel. It was a pretty nice
yeah.
conversation. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, I'll put a link to that too. I'd be curious to learn about that too. That's awesome.
Mm, yeah.
Well, cool.
What about you? What did you was this the first watch?
This was my first time seeing it. Now I recognize Alastair Sim. He plays Scrooge. I'm pretty sure he's the inspiration for Mr. Burns from The Simpsons. I could kind of looks like him.
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
Um, but yeah, no, this was my first time watching it. But I had a good time with it. And what is your overall score on the plot? Let me bring that up here. A score 1 to 5.
Okay, so I mean, the whole story of A Christmas Carol is probably a 5 out of 5. It's just how they present it on camera, right?
Right, right.
Yeah, I mean, the story a man that's just kind of been selfish his entire life, and he has the whole "what about me" type of attitude where he doesn't really care about others around him. Gets a second chance per se, to change his life around so he doesn't end up in shackles.
Right, like
uh,
his friend.
well, the whole plot, just the book plot itself, and then the story itself is a 5 out of 5. But it's how the movie tells it. Some movies get a little they skew away from some of the true stories about it, but they somewhat cover the main reason. But I think this one did a really, from what I was told, this movie is pretty close to the book itself. And there's probably even comments in there that refer to the book. I haven't read it in a while, but I my wife told me it seems pretty close. So yeah, this one's definitely a 5, I would say. So if you're going to watch any of the Christmas carols, this one should be in your queue, and then just compare them. I think it would be good.
Yeah. Well, and like we were alluding to, there's so many versions of it, right?
Oh yeah, there's TV versions, there's this version, it is all kinds, but I believe this one, yeah, I would believe it. I would say this one is is one of the best. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going to disagree too much there. I give it a 4 out of 5. And the reason being, I'm comparing it to other versions I've seen of A Christmas Carol. So I'm noticing with the different ones, they'll focus on different aspects. So, like, some will focus more on the Christmas past, some more on the present, more in future, right? And this one to me, I think we spend a little too much time in the Christmas past. It's like 30 minutes of the film. The movie's only an hour 20 minutes, right? It's like
Right.
3/5 of the film, which is fine, I guess, to kind of, see how evil he was and whatnot. But I think we kind of get the point, right? you know,
Yeah, but I believe the book gets really deep into his past.
and
I think
I've never read the book, so maybe so then.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, present, he's just basically, you're covering what he's kind of doing in the middle of the, just what he's on the daily basis.
Mhm.
And the future, I mean, it's kind of a duh, right? You're not gonna, it's not gonna end well for you.
Right,
And the key thing about the thought is, and with any Christmas Carol, we're all gonna die. It's just how are you remembered?
right.
And
What's your
and
legacy?
yeah, so like he really understands that later on, because he, if you know in the movie, or even, he just, when someone, his own best friend passes away, and I think that's why they wanted to really show the past. When his best business friend
Right.
passed away, he really didn't care. He's like, ah,
Yeah, he's pretty cold about it.
yeah, you know, but he didn't realize that, like, yeah, yeah, we all pass away, but it's like, how are you remembered, like you said, and like how, because he they didn't really, no one really gave 2 cents about him. So when he did,
Right,
they just wanted his stuff, his sheets.
right. Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
Yeah, well, you mentioned the Muppet Christmas Carol, and they kind of do that too in the Muppet Christmas Carol, where that whole scene is reenacted on the Muppet Christmas Carol, where you have the rat and the spider trying to sell their goods. Uh,
Right,
yeah, same thing. So I think the Muppet Christmas Carol took some from this movie as well. So
well,
I
for
like how
sure,
they
for
focus
sure.
really more on his friend, his business partner, how he backstabbed one friend and became a friend with another, and he still kind of didn't really care about his friends. So yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. And we'll kind of talk a little bit more about it in acting, but I thought it was interesting how this version of Scrooge seemed a lot more of like repentant, more of like, there's no hope for me, you know?
Yeah.
Because in
Yeah.
other ones, he's just still angry even by the end of it. But this one, he's like, there's no hope, spirit. There's no hope for me at all. I thought that was
Hmm.
a pretty interesting interpretation.
Uh, yeah. The other one that came out, I think in the '80s, I think it was '80s, with the guy who played Patton. Um,
Oh, George C. Scott, I think.
yeah, that's another good one. He does a similar. It's compared to this one, I believe. He does a similar act where he's like, why are you showing? It doesn't matter, right? And one thing I got from this was his friend kind of warned, like in this picture, is kind of warning him already. He's basically saying
Yeah,
like, "Hey, you're probably going to get like a visit from some random ghost, and he's trying to tell him that, but he couldn't get it out.
Yeah.
Kind of warns him. So my theory is that his friend got visited from another spirit, just like he did,
Just like he
and
did.
got told, if you don't change your ways, you're going to be visited by these other. They're going to show you some things, and he basically told that spirit to kick rocks, and he ended up dying a few days later. So I think that's the theory behind it all. So
Wow. I never even thought about that, but you're probably right because he
he's
was like, "Hey, man," he's trying to talk to him, but he
he's trying to warn
couldn't
him,
get.
like, hey, if a ghost comes and tells you, like, go follow these other ghosts, you might want to listen to him. He ends up doing that, but I think he was because his friend came back and warned him again, but this time he was dead. So yeah.
Yeah. No,
I,
good point there.
yeah, good stuff. Yeah.
All right. Well, kind of talking about that, let's move on to the acting. What are your thoughts on the acting?
Okay. So the acting, Scrooge, he did the guy who put what was his? How do you pronounce his name again? Uh,
Alastair Sim?
Alastair Sim. He did a really good job. I think he did. Obviously, he should have been the best character in this whole thing. I think his friend Marley, whoever played Marley, did a really good job. Because you don't really hear from Marley too much in the other versions, right?
Yeah,
He
just
only
as the ghost, really.
yeah he only shows up for once. But this one he's in it a lot more, and I thought and that guy did a really good job. Um, but the other characters were kind of just playing the characters they should have been playing. There wasn't like anything outstanding about Tiny Tim. There wasn't really anything outstanding about the kids. There wasn't really outstanding about his nephew. Like in other versions of this, you have like the Scrooge with Bill Murray, his girlfriend. She's excellent in that movie.
Mhm.
And then you have the kid that's supposed to be Tiny Tim in that movie. Is even though he doesn't talk the whole time, he does a really good job. But this
Right.
one, I think it's really just Scrooge, Marley, and maybe um, I don't know. I guess Cratchit is but he's kind of just I don't know. So I would give it probably a 3, a 3. I'll give it a 3. There wasn't
Yeah.
really exceptional things, but the guys who were supposed to be good were good, and I think he did okay.
Yeah. Well, I actually liked it just a little bit more than you. I gave it a
Oh,
5 out
okay.
of 5.
Wow.
Uh, I really loved Alastair Sim. He was amazing in his role, and I do agree, though, I wasn't a huge fan of the Tiny Tim actor, but I was like, "Well, he's kind of a kid, though. I'll give him a pass."
No.
But
No, you
alright.
can't. You can't give kid actors a pass.
Uh, no, you do bring up a fair point, though, and, like, one of the other versions, the kids are better, but I'll give him a pass this time around.
Yeah,
But I loved all the ghosts too, and I loved his, nephew, I thought was a good actor. I
right.
don't know, just all around, it was a great cast, and they fit their roles perfectly. It was actually
The
it
present
was
ghost
almost like
was
they
pretty
weren't
funny.
acting. Yeah,
Actually,
he was.
I would put you know what? I'm gonna give it a 3.5 just because of the present ghost. He was pretty good. So,
Yeah. I always love, like, the big bombasticness of him. He's pretty awesome.
yeah, yeah.
Cool. And let's see. All right, let's move on then to the directing. What are your thoughts on the directing?
Um, I mean, it was a well-directed film. There was a nice little segues and cutscene cuts to other versions. The story was smoothly told throughout the movie. You, I think the visuals were pretty cool. How he sometimes you didn't really have to like explain a lot what was going on. He just kind of showed. Uh,
Yeah,
and yeah, I would say directing was probably a 4. Yeah.
nice.
Seems like this guy's done a lot though.
Yeah, this is definitely his most popular film, though. His name is Brian Desmond Hurst. Um, so I was looking at these other ones, a lot of like World War II. So he was kind of like a journeyman director, just whatever the studio wanted, he did. It looks like here.
Yeah,
It's
probably.
definitely his most popular film, though.
Yeah. Looks like it. The Fugitive, is that the original Fugitive? It
See,
wasn't me.
I
It was the
saw
one armed
that.
man.
Yeah, I'll have to check. I'm not sure about that
That might
because I know
be
he's a TV show too.
that might be the original fugitive there. Yeah.
Could be
Huh.
the original, the British version.
Yeah. Yeah. The British version.
Yeah. Well, I gave him a 4.5 out of 5, so a little bit more than you. Um, I just love this adaptation so much. It really flowed very well. I thought the scenes were really good together. It didn't feel a lot like a stage play like some other versions feel like. This felt more like a movie, with camera movement, crazy angles and whatnot. And I think he did really, really good here.
Yeah. Hmm.
So we'll have to see his other films, see what they're like too.
Yeah. Well, this is the channel to do it on.
Yep, that's right. All right. So, kind of talking about that. What are your thoughts on the cinematography slash special effects?
Well, I don't know if it was like the best of this time because I don't really remember what was around in the 50s. But I did enjoy Marley's scene because he was transparent. I'm sure that was kind of difficult at the time to even figure out or do. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. But I have a feeling that was might have been groundbreaking. I have no idea, but
I'm pretty
I just thought
sure, at least this version. Yeah.
I thought it was neat because all the other ghosts aren't transparent. They're just there. The and then that scene where he looks out the window and sees all those other ghosts trying to help that lady in the cold with the baby, and they're all dancing around or trying to reach for her to help her, and they couldn't.
Yeah.
That was a little. That could be a little. I could imagine watching this in the 50s, like, oh, that's creepy. That's a little weird, right? So, but I liked how the translucent, transparent type of thing came off pretty well. It didn't look it held up. It didn't look too fake, you know. So
Yeah. All right. Well, I
Right.
really liked it.
I guess I could say a 4. Yeah.
Before. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I give it a 5 just because of that scene with Jacob Marley. I thought it was really impressive what they were able to do there. Um, and yeah, it is kind of creepy with all the ghosts coming in. I actually thought they were demons. Well,
No,
it's like
yeah.
they couldn't help her or whatever it was, but yeah, kind of creepy. But I was very impressed that they were able to pull that off because I was not expecting that at all. It's like,
Mhm.
whoa, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Really
It
blew
was
me
cool.
away. And even the
Yeah, I'm
scenes when
I'm
they're flying
curious.
were pretty good too.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. I'm curious how they did the transparency. I mean, I'm sure there's someone out there would explain it. Maybe someone can explain it in the comments, but, the way it just didn't look too fake, I guess is all what I'm saying, so,
Yeah. No, they did a really good job there.
yeah.
All right. Let's move on to the music. What are your thoughts on the music?
I mean, it's Christmas music, so, 5.
Yeah, fair enough.
All the classic Christmas music was, in this movie, so it was pretty good. The neat thing about the Christmas Carol, though, by the way, is I can't don't quote me on this too much, but we did talk about it in my video long last year. This book came out around the same time as the first Christmas card.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, so Christmas was like I think he this book. So when this book came out, and it kind of shows it in this movie, London's very dreary, like Industrial Revolution, a lot of sadness. No one's really like into Christmas, right?
Yeah.
There's just a lot of like, just it's just gloomy and dark and dirty. And he wrote this book because um, he wanted to. He saw like children working and not doing what they should probably be doing, is having a good time around Christmas, and sick and everything. He felt bad about that, so he kind of wanted to write a book that kind of maybe showed people, well, why don't we stop worried about money and building things, and focus on the real thing about Christmas, and like some of this. He wanted to write a book about that, and he did, and
Yeah.
it actually got people back into Christmas in the way we know it today. And I think that's why the card came around. But we like I said, I mentioned it on a movie or on my video last year. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's really cool. Well, and you could definitely see that. I mean, I think that's why the story still resonates because we keep falling for the same trap today.
Yeah. Well, Christmas, it's just I think around this time, I don't know if people were, they might have been carolers, but it wasn't like like a lot of people didn't really do that. I think
Mhm.
because most people were just kind of, London's kind of crappy right now.
Yeah.
We're in the mood. But I think um Christmas, with the Christmas card coming out and people wanting to do things about Christmas, I think it drove what you see here in this movie. So yeah, and the
Well,
music.
I
I like the
agree.
music. The music is good though. Like I said, I would say five. Christmas music.
Nice. Well, I gave it a 4 just because it's kind
You
of
don't
a
like
cop
Christmas
out.
music?
Yeah, I don't like Christmas music. I don't like Christmas. No, I don't know. Like the
Well, they had
score.
to.
Yeah, I don't know.
They had to have carolers. I mean, it's a Christmas movie. You have to have Christmas music.
I know. I know.
What'd you want? Like
I
some rock band?
heck yeah. I wanted to no.
No, it's. I get it. I get what you're saying. Um, it probably wasn't too original, I guess is what you're probably getting at.
Yeah, especially with like the score. There's not really a background score. It's mainly just Christmas music here and there. It's pretty quiet the rest of the time,
Yeah, yeah.
which can work. Sometimes it doesn't though.
Mhm.
But that's kind of the case with a lot of older films because music wasn't as prevalent in films as like it is today. Like
Yeah,
today, you have
they didn't really
music
use
every two
music to
seconds.
tell you the story or kind of entertain you or set the scene. Yeah.
Right.
I think Alfred Hitchcock kinda started all that. So,
Pretty much him and Bernard Herrmann for sure.
yeah. Yeah.
They've ruined me. All right. So let's move on. What is your overall score?
Are we doing like yeah, I see you have Criticalist up. Are we doing a critical score? Or are we more of doing like are you tallying up the final score?
So what I've been doing now is tallying it up. So I have, for example, 4.5 out of 5, which makes my criticalist percentage of 90%.
Oh, okay. So okay, I'm supposed to, I was supposed to add mine? Okay, hold on.
That's okay.
Uh let's see, 5, let's see, 9, I said 4 for act, did I say 3? 3.5, so that's 8.5. I think I did 4 there. Okay. You know what? I would probably agree with you. I'd probably say it's around the 90s. Let's just say that. So if you say 90, I'll say 93, 94.
Yep. Cool,
So,
cool. So with that, would you recommend this movie to people then?
oh yeah, I would. I'm always going to recognize or recommend a good Christmas movie, and this was a good one. This was a good Christmas Carol. So, don't
Okay.
be turned off by the age of the film.
Yeah,
It's
I agree.
he kind of looks like Willy Wonka right there.
He does a little bit. He's got funny teeth too.
Yeah, he's British.
True. Yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, I would say overall on Criticalist, I would say yeah, let's give it a 90-ish. So
nice. Yeah, no, I highly recommend this movie too. I actually recommend it more than the 1930s MGM film. That one is terrible. Just the acting, everything about it is awful. This movie, I could definitely see why people say this is the best adaptation. I kind of agree. It's definitely top 3 for sure.
yeah, yeah, I would agree with that.
All right. So, those are our overall scores. So, with that, that's kind of our review for today. But before we go, why don't you share a little bit about your podcast? And thanks again for coming on.
Oh yeah, this has been great. I do appreciate it, and yeah, this like I said, Late Night with Cap is just kind of where we talk about the oddities of the world. Last, I think around Halloween, we talked about like I invited some guests on, and we had like sort of like a campfire ghost story type thing. Like everyone brought in something they were kind of something kind of spooked them either on YouTube or some reel they watched. So we reviewed those. So that was pretty fun. And then again on After the Weekend, we review movies from our past, so 80s, 90s. kid stuff that or movies that we liked when we were kids or shouldn't have watched when we were kids. Um, but we did anyways. And we also do we did a new series of videos, top five rentals. So we show the top five rentals of each year from 85. I think we're on 95 now. So
Oh wow.
those have been pretty fun. So yeah, so you can check those out over there, and yeah, it's all good times. Movies.
Heck yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
we gotta
again,
have you on sometime. I don't think we've had you
heck yeah.
on.
I don't think so. I would love to be on. It sounds really fun.
Yeah, okay. We'll find something in the new year. I think we're kind of on a break for the holidays, but yeah, um, we'll we'll find something in the new year for you. Yeah, we'll find something.
Heck yeah. Well, and again, I appreciate you coming on and watching this movie with me.
Oh yeah,
And
oh yeah, must see. You can definitely watch it on the YouTube version's a little janky.
yeah, it was pretty
uh,
pixelated.
if you want a good, if you don't mind the commercials, you can definitely watch it free on Tubi. That
Oh,
one
I should have
played.
checked there. I have Tubi.
It did play pretty well, but it is on. If you don't mind, if you want to pay for like a higher quality version, yeah, I think it's on Prime. So yeah, good stuff.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you all for tuning in today. And this has been Really Old Movies. I'm your host, Harrison Scullen. My special guest, JT. Take care, everyone.
Have a really great Christmas.
Yes.